Super excited. I'm happy with the turnout because, you know, most times when we hear anything that has to do with the government or whatever, we feel that that is not our place. A lot of people are I want to say apathetic, but yeah, we're just averse to anything government. We believe it's not our concern. I mean, I'm not a public servant, I'm not a politician, I don't plan to go into politics. So what's my concern? But you and I will agree, especially for those of you on the call who are Nigerians. In fact, anywhere in the world, basically, the government plays a very huge role in every single sector. No matter, I can see a lot of us here from the development space. I can see African Women and Youth Development Initiative. I can see Happy Initiative. I can see a lot of High Godwin. I can see a lot of non-profits. Even if you're in the non-profit sector and you feel that, oh, nothing concerns you how the government is operating, I just want you to know that everything the government does or does not do affects the work that we do as social development practitioners, from the policies to the enabling environment to technology and all of that. That's why I'm super, super excited for us to be having this conversation today. Hi, Godwin Onoja from Makurdi Benin. I used to know Godwin Onoja. I don't know if that is you. Bill Keys from Lagos State. We have Abegunde Samson from Oyo State. Bello from Lagos State. Welcome, everyone. So let me just give us a brief introduction in case maybe you just stumbled across the link and joined the meeting. I'm not really sure what we're going to do here. My name is Sharon Chahemen, but you can call me Sensational Sharon, and I'll be the moderator for today. I'm a social development practitioner. I've been in the climate change space for about 8 years. I work at other intersections of development issues like inclusivity for persons with disability and women's rights and so on. Oh, ChristainAid is here. Welcome, Deborah from Ogun State. And I'm super excited to be moderating this conversation. All right. Now, this initiative that we're launching today, the leaderboard, is actually supported by the European Union and the Dutch government. And it is an initiative by the Women Environmental Program Web in collaboration with ChristainAid, Actionaid, Hope Alive for Possibilities Initiative, and Gender Advocacy Movement for Environment Game. Now we're launching now before I even say, let me make sure that find out if anybody knows. So we're launching the GESI. I don't know if I should pronounce it as GESI or GESI. We're launching the GESI leaderboard today. But does anybody know the full meaning of GESI? Can someone attempt to the comment? Let's see if anybody knows the full meaning of GESI. So we have Halima from Kogi State, Chacha Vivi Women and Girl Child Development Foundation. Does anybody know the full meaning of GESI? Let me know before we get started.
Yes. Can I go ahead?
Oh, yes, please, you can. Let's know the full meaning of GESI. Share with those people that don't know.
Gender equality and social inclusion.
Sorry, come again. I didn't get that.
Gender equality and social inclusion.
Beautiful. Oh, I can also see that there's some people in the comments too. Peter Sampson says gender equality and social inclusion. Gender equality, Savia Elizabeth says gender equality and yeah. So that means we all know the full meaning of GESI. Beautiful. All right. So but what exactly is GESI? So GESI is a performance leaderboard that will be focusing at the subnational government in Nigeria. I know that in Nigeria, when we mention government, the only thing that comes to most people's mind is president. So when you hear people saying things like, oh, this government is bad, this government is not working, this government should do this, government should do that, government should not be doing this, most of the time what is coming to their mind is the president. And maybe sometimes they're just thinking of the governors or maybe people in the Senate and House of Rep. But like there are so many tiers of government, and just so many levels, and each of them has what they are responsible for. And sometimes we blame another level of government for what the other level is supposed to be doing. But you can't know who to hold accountable if you don't even know what they are supposed to be doing, right? So today, this performance leaderboard that will be launching aims to assess and rank the efforts of the subnational government to ensure that there's gender responsive and inclusive governance, gender responsive and inclusive for persons with disability, for marginalized groups, and so on. So for me, I see this as a report card for our government, our government officials, like a report card for them. Are you keeping to what you said you're going to do when you're campaigning? You know, during campaign, we make a lot of promises. So now that we've elected you into office, whether it's an elective position or any level of government at all, at the national, at the state, at the local, which is one of the most underrated or overlooked parts at the local government level, are you doing what you said you were going to do? So this is very important because gender responsive and inclusive government will ensure that there is better management of resources, there is better management of and taking into account the needs of everyone, meaning that nobody is left behind when there's policies, when there's new systems or anything that is done. I'm super excited and very huge congratulations and well done to everyone that put this together. WEB, European Union, Dutch government, ChristainAid, Happy, and Game. Well done. Actionaid, kudos to everyone. This is going to be a super necessary and timely innovation. So welcome once again to the virtual launch of the GESI Performance Leaderboard. All right, now to kickstart this meeting today, we'll be having the opening remarks by someone that I admire so much, who has been, her organization is, I think they're 25 plus years. For anyone to do something for even 5 years, 1 year, it's not easy. So imagine 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years and counting of actually making impact in the community. She's someone I admire very much, very learned, very knowledgeable, and always ready to help. All right, so we're going to be calling on board the founder and the global lead for Women Environmental Program WEP, the founder and the global lead for Women Environmental, okay, WEP, but we're going to be taking opening remarks first from the executive director of WEP Nigeria. WEP is Women Environmental Program, and they're a major contributor or initiator of this leaderboard. And we're calling on board Mrs. Anne-Marie Abagu, who is the executive director of WEP Nigeria. Oh, okay, yes, Dr. Priscilla is online. So yes, we'll be taking our opening remarks from Dr. Priscilla Achakwa, who is the founder and the global lead of Women Environmental Program WEP. I know that we cannot unmute our mics, but please, in the comment section, please welcome on board the founder and the global president for WEP with a resounding round of applause. Dr. Priscilla Achakwa, the floor is yours for the opening remarks. Thank you so much, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Sorry that. First and foremost, I want to thank every one of you for joining this program, which is very dear to us because some years back, we worked with the Federal Ministry of Environment to have the first National Action Plan on Gender and Climate Change. And since then, the ministry has been trying to make sure that this action plan is implemented at the subnational level. And a lot of civil society organizations, including the subnational levels, have taken up this national action plan very seriously, trying to make sure that it is being implemented. But for us, as an organization, we feel that we need to track, we need to understand how much of the work this has gone into it. And that is part of why we are doing this very important assignment reviewing what has happened, especially at the subnational level. But I want to say that we are not doing this alone. We have our partners that are supporting. So I want to thank each and every one of our partners, WCEF, Actionaid, ChristainAid, and the others that are here. Thank you very much for joining forces. We know that working together strengthens the work that we do, that we are not working in silos, but of course, even the resources, we're building synergies and bringing out the best that needs to be brought out. So as we go into this, I just want to say I want to say that we are committed to the issues of gender. We are also committed to the issues of data. I am currently in New York, and one of the things we came to do with WIDO and other organizations, I mean IUCN, UN Women, we have a network called, Madam. We have a network called Gender, Environment, and Data Alliance. And we are looking at how we can really collect data in terms of gender and environment for policy making and for decision making. But most importantly, we want to look at the issues of social data, because most of the times we have the academics doing their own research, but this research they do ends up only in the universities or in the academic sector. It does not translate to giving back to the society or the findings and the recommendations coming back to the community to share with them. So GEDA is posed to make sure that everything we are doing is about the community's participation, making sure that they're all involved. It's not a top-down approach, but also bottom-up approach to make sure that we get the best out of it. So I want to enjoin everybody that is here to please key into this program that is very important, and it will go a long way. This might just be in climate change, but we will have other programs. I mean, the issues of disaster risk reduction, and you know that is a very key issue. It's also an emerging issue, not an emerging issue, but this is a very serious issue also in our country. So I call on each and every one of us to be committed to this and to say thank you to all our partners, and that together we shall succeed. Thank you, my dear sister, for bringing us on board and for anchoring this event. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for that. Like she mentioned, she's currently in New York, and they should be like 5-6 hours behind us. So you can imagine the sacrifice to still be on the call and give us a little introduction on for what we're doing today. Two major things that you mentioned that I like was the fact that data is very important for the work that we do. And we're not just talking about the data that is done by the academia through research, like you said, that just ends up in school libraries and in books and the rest. We need the social data for the work that we do. And then she mentioned not working in silos. Not working in silos is not just among non-profits, but making sure that you look at the government as a partner, not maybe an institution that you're trying to go against, because we need each other. And last but not the least, the bottom-top approach as against the top-bottom approach. So we are over 50 on the call, meaning that when we are done with this, we're supposed to cascade the information that we've gotten from here into our various communities for a broader reach and more sustainable results. Thank you so much, Dr. Priscilla, for that. Now, we're going to be taking a few more opening remarks very briefly from a few of our partners for the program that are here. I'm going to be calling them, and whoever is available first, we can just, the first on my list is Andrew Mamedu, who is the country director for Actionaid Nigeria. I want to just take a moment to appreciate Actionaid. Actionaid is such a great partner in development, because most of the impressive programs I see in Nigeria, I usually see Actionaid as either the initiator or at least a partner. So great one, Actionaid, for always partnering to make sure that we achieve our sustainable development. So if Mr. Andrew Mamedu is available, please, you can just take out 2 to 3 minutes to just give us your opening remarks from Actionaid.
All right. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Andrew is not on the call. We have our board meeting currently ongoing. And I quickly had to step out as well to represent him here. Good morning, all. I'll just read out his opening remark, and thank you for the acknowledgement and all. It's always great working alongside with Web. My name is Judith Bagidi. I'm the governance specialist at Actionaid Nigeria. Distinguished guests, esteemed partners, our colleagues that are on the call, members of the media, we hope they are on the call because they are also very critical in our work as CSOs. And not forgetting movements, champions of inclusive governance. It is with great pleasure that we are all on this call, which is the launch of the Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Performance Leaderboard, which is a visionary initiative jointly championed by the Women Environmental Program Web, ChristainAid, Actionaid itself, and Hope Alive for Possibilities initiative. This initiative actually comes at a crucial time in our nation's journey towards inclusive governance. Despite Nigerians' commitment to gender equality and social inclusion, the data is actually very, very sobering. And we'll look at, for instance, women who hold less than 7% of elective positions across Nigeria, far below the African Union target of 30% and the global average of 26.5%. And also, out of 36 states, we have not lesser, a little bit over 9 states who have passed the disability right law, which means that millions of persons with disabilities without formal legal protections are left alone. Also, looking at the population of Nigeria, we have over 60% of Nigeria's population. Youth representation in governance remains really, really marginal, with fewer who are being elected officials. We also have the Open Government Partnership, which we have very few states who have signed into it, which also signals a wider gap in transparency and citizen accountability across the Federation. These statistics are not just numbers. They are actually a wake-up call for each and every one of us. They underscore the critical need for a performance tracking mechanism like the GESI Leaderboard, which will assess and rank the efforts of subnational governments in driving inclusive leadership, budgeting, infrastructure, access to finance, and legal frameworks itself. By providing a data-driven, transparent, and constructive assessment, this initiative aims not to name and shame, but to name and frame progress. We are grateful to our funding partners. We are also grateful to the technical partners, and we commend every stakeholder who continues to push the boundaries of inclusive governance in Nigeria. So I really want to say once again a huge welcome to each and every one of us. And as we begin this chapter, one where performance meets purpose and where inclusion is not an afterthought but a benchmark. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Over to you.
Wow, thank you so much. That was such an inspiring opening remark by Actionaid. Two major takeaways from them that is this leaderboard the aim is not for us to name and shame. It's not an avenue for us to name and shame, but for us to be able to name and then create a platform to make sure that what is not working can be improved upon. So this is not a naming, shaming platform. I also love that you mentioned that performance is not an afterthought. Performance and purpose actually work together. Thank you so much for that. And kudos to you on your involvement in making sure that this leaderboard comes to life. We'll be taking another opening remark very briefly from the program officer, governance and rights for ChristainAid Nigeria. The program officer, governance and rights for ChristainAid Nigeria is Ugochukwu Munachi, and if you're in the room, please you can kindly unmute yourself and and give us opening remarks from ChristainAid Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Okay, so good morning. Thank you, Sharon. I'll be holding brief for my country director, and please permit me to extend his apologies. He's currently on a regional call that I'll have to join back after this. So good morning, everyone, our distinguished partners, the guests on this call. For us, it's a great pleasure, of course, to be a part of this initiative, to be collaborating on this with WEP, with Actionaid, with Hope Alive Possibilities Initiative. And we feel that this initiative is a critical milestone, just like Judith had mentioned, for development partners in Nigeria's, in our current efforts to promote GESI, particularly at the subnational level. And for us, by assessing, and ranking the performance of state governments across critical indicators, we are not just creating a scoreboard. We are laying a baseline for transformative action. I'm glad to see that this idea has transformed from what was originally conceived. I think earlier this year I had that conversation with John. What was originally conceived when it was first pitched, as a GESI subnational awards to, a performance leaderboard. So for us, it shouldn't just serve as a diagnostic tool. We believe that it can serve as a mirror, right, through which state governments can reflect, both on their strengths and, those areas where they would need improvement. And we also believe that this can also help with healthy competition. It can encourage that among states. We have similar examples with things like states to state and the likes, and then more importantly, just like the other speakers before me have emphasized, this would help to provide that data-driven foundation, upon which we as, development partners, the civil society, government actors can, build and shape more responsive and targeted GESI interventions. And I think that, this kind of reminds us that GESI is not a standalone agenda, because it cuts across every sector of development, whether you're working in, health, climate resilience, economic justice and the likes, or humanitarian response. Just knowing that the inclusion of women, youth, persons with disabilities, other vulnerable and marginalized groups remain central to ensuring, equitable and sustainable outcomes. And to move this vision forward, it's important that we expand and sustain these collaborations across our space, because no single actor can achieve this, right? This leaderboard would help to create that common, like a common reference point, around which we can, coordinate or, align our resources and then build some sort of consensus for how we collectively push for systemic change. So for us, we are proud to be a part of this movement. We want to commend WEP. We want to also commend our co-partners for their leadership and their support so far. And we look forward to working closely with all the stakeholders, all the relevant stakeholders, to ensure that the evidence that we're able to generate from this tool can lead to more meaningful reforms and, accountability in governance. So thank you very much. Over to you, Sensational Sharon. Hello, I hope I was audible.
Yes, you were.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Thank you so
All right,
much for that. Thank you so much for that. I love that you also mentioned that the platform, the leaderboard, will also be a platform for reflection for the leaders, not just for what is not working, but as much as possible what is also working. Because if we don't measure, if we're not able to reflect, we're not able to improve on anything. So it's great that you mentioned that it's also for reflecting on what is working as well. Thank you so much for that powerful welcome remarks, and we accept your greetings from your country director. Thank you. All right, now on to the next. We're also taking very brief opening remarks from the executive director for Hope Alive for Possibilities Initiative, Happy, who is no other than the amazing, my amazing sister Ave Akigi, who is the executive director for Happy Initiative. If you're here, please, you can unmute yourself and give us your brief opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Greetings from Hope Alive for Possibilities Initiative.
Please, you can
Currently, we're
unmute
having our
yourself.
board
Okay,
meeting.
welcome.
Okay, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Currently, we're also having our board meeting, and our board sent their regards to everyone. As I want to use this opportunity and appreciate all our partners and WEB for this beautiful initiative, also our founders for making this a reality. As for us at Happy, when we were invited for this partnership, it was something that we could not resist because as a disability organization, we were remembered and it's something that for a very long time in the society when it comes to issues of gender and disability, a lot of people do initiative without remembering persons with disability exist out there. So as an organization that work for the rights of persons with disability, and the initiative that we are driving for also include persons with disabilities. We have women who are with a disability too. So this initiative is a step towards the right direction. And we know that it's also a wake-up call. Like the other speaker said, it's not about name shaming, but it's about a wake-up call that, see, you need to do more for women in the society. So we know that after this first if this first step is taken successfully, we know that a lot of states out there will wake up and know that, yes, truly we have forgotten about women and we need to do more for women. So on our part, we'll do our part to contribute to the success of this initiative. Thank you for making us part of this initiative. It's something that we don't take for granted, and we look forward to doing more when the need arises. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. And honestly, she said the truth. We when we talk about marginalized group and we mention women, we forget that under that marginalized group women, there's another marginalized group which is women with disabilities, and they've been overlooked for a long time. So, like she said, kudos to WEB, ChristainAid, Actionaid, and all the partners that make sure that they included the voices of persons with disability. They make up a huge chunk of the society, and they are very important in whatever policies. You cannot say you are creating inclusive policies if it does not cover persons with disability. So we're looking forward to your contributions to the leaderboard. And once again, thank you for taking up the um, role of standing in the gap for persons with disability with this initiative. Thank you so much. All right, now we'll be moving on very quickly to Annabelle. Annabelle was actually one of the first persons to join the meeting, so I'll be looking forward to hear from her. She is the Women Engaged for a Common Future. Women Engaged for a Common Future, that's WEFC, from the Netherlands, all the way from the Netherlands, and she's going to be giving us a very brief opening remark, very brief opening remark as we continue in this launch. So Annabelle Kennedy, you can take over the mic now and just give us your opening remark. Thank you for joining us and being here on time. I saw you immediately. I changed the brief.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for the welcome, and yeah, indeed joining on time. And yeah, just thank you. Well, first let me say thank you to you for anchoring the meeting today. Let me thank WEP and all of our partners for the invitation to this important launch, and really just commend all of you working on this for the initiative. I think from WECF, we're really happy to reaffirm our long-standing partnership with WEP. We've worked with WEP for many years. They're really key allies for us in the fight for gender, social and environmental justice. As Sharon mentioned, we're an eco-feminist civil society organisation based in the Netherlands. And so I'm actually very proud that the project that I coordinate, so the Green Livelihoods Alliance, the Forest for a Just Future, which is funded by the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has been able to support the GESI or GESI, indeed the Performance Leaderboard. I think all of us who are here agree that it's really important for authorities and governments at all levels of society in all countries, whether that's in Nigeria, whether that's in the Netherlands, all over the world, to really demonstrate their commitment to inclusive leadership, to meaningful participation of women in all their diversity, people living with disabilities, so importantly mentioned, youth groups and other marginalized groups. I think by having this leaderboard, they're going to be setting an example for the communities that they represent and work with. And I think I echo those who have gone before me in saying the analysis of progress towards government's commitments will be valuable for identifying the best practices. It's not a shaming exercise, but it's really to see what are the lessons learned, what are the best practices, what are perhaps areas for improvement. And just by having that benchmark of the current status of the inclusive governance and policy making, governments will be able to learn from the data, learn from the leaderboards, and also work out what are the next steps that they can take, what are concrete steps that they can take to ensure that they're fairly and inclusively representing communities. I'm very excited to keep up to date with the progress. I think the data collectors are going to be getting to work not long after the call. Really looking forward to the launch of the leaderboard, the report, once all of the data is collected. And I think I speak for everyone to say that I think it will be a really valuable resource, particularly for Nigeria, but of course setting this standard for all of us to take a footsteps from. So really, again, thank you very much for having me here, and I look forward to seeing how it progresses. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Annabelle. The one thing I would like to capitalize on what you said is that you've worked with WEP for a very long time. They've been long-time partners of yours, which is one of the things that we're trying to also advocate for through this platform. And because I see a lot of non-profit organizations on the call, and like Dr. Priscilla said in her opening remarks, we cannot keep working in silos. Some of the connections we make through this leaderboard launch will go on to, maybe we may not work together immediately, but in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, we will also be working on something together. So that's one thing I would like to encourage everyone on the call. You're here to listen to how this affects you or how you can contribute to the leaderboard, but at the same time, keep your eyes open for possible partnerships, maybe not now, but even in the future, because that's how we're able to get more sustainable and widespread impact. So thank you for that. And before this call is over, I'm very sure we're all going to come together to decide if we're going to call this GESI or GESI. So we're all going to do that before we leave. Now, the very last but not the least opening remark will be from the program manager, Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation. That's Women Radio 91.7 FM, the program manager for Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation, in person of Taiwo Adeleye. If you're here, please can unmute yourself and give us your very brief opening remarks. The floor is yours, Taiwo.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Good morning, everyone. My name is Taiwo Adeleye. I'm here on behalf of the Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation and Women Radio 91.7. That is Nigeria's only radio station that is dedicated to women and families. It's actually an honor to be part of this moment and the official launch of the GESI or GESI Performance Leaderboard, a bold and a necessary initiative by the Women Environmental Program in collaboration with other partners committed to inclusive governance. Now, it's time for us to know that this is not just another platform where we are just going to be doing another report. It is more than just an assessment. What we are launching today is a national mirror. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So what we are launching here today is going to be a national mirror and a tool that reflects what subnational governments are doing, not just saying when it comes to gender equity and inclusion. At Voice of Women, we are very proud to be partners of WEP in this bold vision. Over the years, we've worked closely with various organizations like Actionaid, UN Women, MacArthur Foundation, Ford Foundation, and many others to push for the gender equality agenda in Nigeria. From amplifying the fight for inclusive governance and special seats bill to getting male traditional leaders to rethink the age norms to running national media campaigns that put women at the center of public conversation. But one of our most opening eye moments is something similar to what GESI is doing. We launched a grassroots women engagement survey, and we went across all 30 states and FCT. One of the things that we found out was that out of 10 grassroots women, 8 of them have their permanent voters cards, and 69% of these women voted for male candidates during the last general elections. What does this tell us? It tells us something powerful, and it is not just about apathy. Women are ready. They are participating, but the structures around us are not enabling the leadership of these voices. That's why what we are doing today matters. The GESI Leaderboard is here to shine a light on those structures. It is asking the right questions. Are women and persons with disabilities in decision-making rooms? Are there laws and budgets that truly serve the underserved? Is access to justice just a slogan or a lived reality? And the best part, it's not based on assumptions. It is backed by data, factual data. And this is how we will drive real accountability and change. At us here at Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation, we are going to keep reporting on this. We will amplify it, and through our various platforms, radio shows, research, and dialogues, we'll continue to engage with custodians of our cultures, and we'll keep celebrating states that are taking bold steps. We won't shy away from calling out those who are not either. But let us also take a moment to say this clearly. The media must never be an afterthought in development work. Media is not just storytellers, they are agenda shapers, accountability watchdogs, and catalysts for cultural change. We should use the media to continue to strive for our initiatives, to give promotion, amplify the voices of the things we do, just like the GESI Leaderboard. We urge that our voices remain sharp, honest, and persistent as this leaderboard rolls out. Today, the Women's Environmental Program, I say to you, congratulations. This initiative is visionary, it is necessary, and it is timely. You've given us all a powerful tool, and it's time for us to use it wisely. And to women who are at the grassroots, underserved or not listened to, the silent majority, the ones whose voices rarely make it to the state capitals, this is for you. You're not invisible and you're not powerless. From today, your realities are what will make measures, will amplify and will fight for what is right. Because in Nigeria, leadership does not just happen to women, it happens with us and through us. Thank you very much, WEP, for organizing this impactful initiative. Thank you.
Wow, wow, that was such a powerful opening remark. Wow. In fact, I think I got so many key pointers from your opening remark. One of them was that we need to move beyond having justice for all or leaving no one behind. We need to move from having them as slogans to having them as lived realities, not just things people say during campaigns and say on social media, but it's actually lived realities. And I also love that you mentioned that the media must never be an afterthought. They are the accountability watchdogs, they are our partners, and we must work with them hand in hand in development work. And women with disabilities and the marginalized groups are actually powerful if they are given the opportunity. And I also love the scenario where you said that when we're looking at what is working and what is not working, it's not from assumption or just somebody just says something and we buy it hook, line, and sinker. We must have factual data to back it up, and that's one of the things that GESI is going to be doing. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you so much for that, and kudos to all the work that you do through Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation. All right, thank you to all our partners, Women Empowerment Foundation, Women Engage for a Common Future from the Netherlands, Happy, ChristainAid, Actionaid, and of course Web. All right. Thank you so much for your opening remarks. We've now set the stage for a very powerful discussion. And without wasting much time, we'll be moving into the overview of the GESI Performance Leaderboard. We'll be looking at the concepts. Yes, we're looking at the concept, the methodology, and the assessment areas. And we have one of the persons I respect so much, a very key voice in the development space, none other than Mr. John Baki, who is the co-executive director for Women Empowerment Program Nigeria. So, Mr. John Baki, you can take over the stage to give us an overview of the GESI Performance Leaderboard. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Good morning to everyone. I want to first of all want to join my voice to appreciate our partners who have joined us on this. Thank you for dedicating your time, your resources to see that what we have started succeed. And to everyone who has taken time to join this call, I appreciate you, and I hope you will also learn one or two things from here to inspire you to contribute to the efforts to ensure our country is gender responsive and inclusive. I will briefly be providing you with the overview of the GESI or GESI Performance Leaderboard, the concept we are planning to adapt, the methodology and the areas of assessment. Kindly confirm if my slides are moving.
Yes, we are seeing your screen clearly.
Yes, sir. Your slides are loud, are bright, and
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So many speakers have stated the slogan of "Leave no one behind," and this is actually one of the central promise of the Sustainable Development Goals. But even as the Sustainable Development Goals promises to leave no one behind, it is not possible not to leave anyone behind without ensuring gender equality and social inclusion. If you say, I am not leaving anyone behind, and women and persons with disabilities are being left behind, it undermines the whole process, promise of the Sustainable Development Goals. In Nigeria, it may be glaring that some people have been left behind, but the extent to which they are left behind is not clearly known. For some, it is known, but for some, it is not clearly known. And that is why it becomes very important that we assess the state levels and see how they are mainstreaming gender equality and social inclusion in their governance. That, as many speakers have said, we lay down a reference point, a foundation and a reference point for us for actions that encourages or promotes gender mainstreaming and inclusion in the states. There is a methodology we have proposed to adapt for the GESI Performance Leaderboard. In collaboration with our partners, we are going to assess the states, carry out assessments in the states, focusing on few areas. So we'll be looking at policy frameworks, leadership of women, youth, and persons with disabilities in government institutions, the inclusiveness and gender friendliness of the state secretariats, access to justice, accountability mechanisms, and state budgets. So each of the states will be assessed, scored, and ranked based on the efforts it has made in the focus areas of the assessment. So let's move straight to the areas that the GESI Performance Leaderboard is focusing. There may be several other areas which are also very important. But for a start, these are the areas that the leaderboard is focusing on. We have leadership of women, youth, and persons with disabilities. We have policy and legal frameworks, infrastructure, budget, access to justice, and accountability mechanisms. These are the 6 areas that the GESI Performance Leaderboard is focusing. Maybe as time goes on, we may expand to cover other very important areas. But for now, these are the areas that we feel we should touch on, the assessment should focus on. Now, for each of these focus areas, there are sub areas that we are going to focus on. And each of the sub areas has a precise description of the issues that the assessment will focus on. So the first area, which is leadership of women, youth, and persons with disabilities, has 3 sub areas. It has leadership in the State Executive Council, leadership in the State House of Assembly, leadership in the State Judiciary. And under leadership in the State Executive Council, we will be looking specifically at percentage of commissioners and heads of government agencies that are women. We'll be looking at percentage of commissioners and heads of government agencies that are youth, percentage of commissioners and heads of government agencies that are persons with disabilities. Under leadership in the State House of Assembly, we'll be looking at the percentage of State House of Assembly members that are women. We'll also be looking at the percentage of State House of Assembly members that are youth. And this youth, we are looking at the youth that are between age 18 to 35 years. We are also looking at percentage of State House of Assembly members that are persons with disabilities. Then under the sub-area of leadership in the state judiciary, we'll be looking at the percentage of the leadership positions of the state judiciary that are occupied by women. We'll also be looking at percentage of leadership positions of the state judiciary that are occupied by youth. We will also look at the percentage of leadership positions of the state judiciary that are occupied by persons with disabilities. Then under the second area, which is policy and legal frameworks, we have 3 sub-areas, and these areas are GESI policies, GESI laws, relevant institutional structures to ensure GESI. So under GESI policies, we'll be looking at if state has a gender policy and if state has a social inclusion or protection policy. Under GESI laws, we'll be looking at if a state has a violence against persons prohibition law, or it has a law that promotes participation of marginalized groups in political leadership. We'll also be looking at if states have a law that protects the rights of persons with disabilities. Under relevant institutional structures to ensure GESI, we will be looking at the following. 1, if the state has a dedicated agency or department to enhance gender mainstreaming. 2, if the state has a dedicated agency or department for youth development. And 3, if the state has a dedicated agency or department to protect rights of persons with disabilities. These are the sub-areas and their descriptions under area 2 of this assessment. Then we also have infrastructure as one of the area we are focusing on under this assessment. Under infrastructure, we'll be looking at we have only one sub area, and that is building designs of the state secretariat. So here we are going to assess the secretariat to see if they have ramps or elevators for easy access for persons with disabilities. We will also assess the state secretariats to see if they have toilets that are suitable for persons with disabilities. We will also assess the state secretariats to see if they have crèche for breastfeeding or nursing mothers. So these are the sub-areas that we are going to look at under this broad area of infrastructure. So let's move to the next area, which is budget. So under budget, we have the following sub-areas. Budget for women's development projects and programs, budget for youth development projects and programs, budget for projects and programs for persons with disabilities, funds released for women's development projects and programs, funds released for youth development projects and programs, funds released for projects and programs for persons with disabilities. So under the budget for women's development projects and programs, we are going to look at the percentage of state budget that is allocated to the agency responsible for women affairs. Under the budget for youth development projects and programs, we are going to check the percentage of the state budget that is allocated to the agency responsible for youth affairs. Under the budget for projects and programs for persons with disabilities, we are going to assess the budget to ascertain the percentage of state budget allocated to the agency responsible for persons with disabilities. Then other funds released for women's development projects and programs, we're going to check of the total amount budgeted for women's development programs, what's the percentage of that amount that was actually released. Under funds released for youth development projects and programs, we'll check to see the percentage of the total budget allocated for youth development projects and programs that was released. Under funds released for projects and programs for persons with disabilities, we'll do same to check and see of the total budget allocated for this course, what's the percentage that was actually released. So let's move to area 5, which is access to justice. This area has two sub areas, and the sub areas are simplified process for reporting human rights violations, legal aid for the vulnerable. So under the sub area of simplified process for reporting human rights violations, we'll assess to know if the state has an anonymous online reporting platform for human rights violations. Under legal aid for the vulnerable, we will assess to ascertain if the state has an organized structure to provide legal aid to the vulnerable. So these are the sub-areas we'll be looking at under this area 5, access to justice. Area 6 is accountability mechanisms, and this has only one sub-area, commitment to open governance. So what we want to find out here is if the state has committed to open government partnership to implement initiatives that improve public service and governance. These are the 6 major areas and the sub-areas that the GESI leaderboard, GESI Performance Leaderboard is going to focus on. Now, you may be asking how we are going to score. This is how we are going to score the states. based on the areas we are carrying out the assessment. So there are a total of 22 sub-areas across these 6 broad areas. We have 22 sub-areas, and each sub-area is allotted a maximum of 5 marks. And a scoring guide has been developed to guide the allocation of scores based on the situation of the sub-area assessed. For example, let me go back and use 1 as an example. Let me use GESI policies. For example, GESI policies is a sub-area and it has 5. Same thing with GESI laws, same thing with relevant institutional structures to ensure GESI. So GESI law has 2 areas we are looking at, whether a state has a gender policy. So these two, if the state has a gender policy, it scores 2.5. If the state has a social inclusion or protection policy, it scores 2.5, making 5. But if a state does not have a gender policy, it scores 0. If the gender policy is being developed, it scores 1. Similarly, if a state does not have a protection policy or social inclusion policy, it scores 0. If it is being developed, it scores 1. But if they have the policies in place, they score a total of 5. So there is a scoring guide that we are going to use to allocate scores based on the situation of the issues we assess. So what is the relevance of the GESI Performance Leaderboard? This has been emphasized severally by different speakers that this is to encourage states to improve their laws, policies, and programs to ensure that their states are gender responsive and inclusive. This will lead to inclusive and effective management of natural, human, financial, and economic resources for the benefit of all. This will also contribute to bridging inequalities and enhancing the socioeconomic conditions of the marginalized groups. So this is the relevance of this GESI Performance Leaderboard that we are planning to undertake to have the facts and figures so that you will have something to stand on and demand action from a state. So we are not doing this alone, as you already know. We are doing this with several other partners, and they include Actionaid, Hope Alive for Possibilities Initiative, ChristainAid, Gender Advocacy Movement for the Environment, Voice of Women Empowerment Foundation, which is Women Radio, the first women radio in Nigeria. I don't know if it's same for Africa, but I know in Nigeria, it is the first women radio, a radio station whose presenters are 100% women and whose programming is focused primarily on the promotion of women's rights. So these are the partners who are working tirelessly to see that this succeeds. And we are receiving some support from the European Union and the government of Netherlands. We appreciate these 2 donors who agreed that even though our projects with them had no much focus on this assessment, but when we discussed with them that this is necessary, it is important to do this, they agreed that we should take part of the resources to finance this. So we appreciate them. They are the ones who have made this possible. and our partners who are contributing their time, resources, and expertise to contribute to shaping the process of this GESI Performance Leaderboard. So thank you so much for listening. I hand it back to Sensational Sharon to continue.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for taking your time to break down what the GESI or GESI. I think we're still going to decide before the end of this meeting whether we're going to call it GESI or GESI. But that was very, and I'm believing that we're going to be getting the slides or like maybe like the document so we can go through this. One of the major things I enjoyed from your session or something you mentioned that I like was that this will give us a platform to be able to demand for whatever it is, to demand for better. For sometimes we just speak vaguely and we say things like, oh, we need our government to do better. We need our government to do better. But what better? Like you can't just say it vaguely. There's no data, you don't have any fact. What particular area do you want them to do better? What exactly do you want them to do better? What exactly do you want them to do better? That's amazing. All right, so before we call our next speaker up, I just want to take just about 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute for us to have an icebreaker or an energizer. I'm very sure if you're sitting there in the physical meeting by now, you have needed an energizer. So I just want us to do something very quickly before we call our next speaker up. All right. So this thing, I would like us to pay close attention. Now, if listen to the question, listen to the statement, so you know what to do. So the first one is, if you believe that women should be at the decision-making tables, I would like you to drop a yes in the comments. If you believe that women should be at the decision-making tables, drop a yes in the comments. Okay, beautiful. Now, the second is, if your organization actively supports persons with disability, I want you to drop PWD in the comments. If your organization actively supports persons with disabilities, drop PWD in the comments. Ooh, your responses show me that we are still here. Oh, I love this. We're still active. That's good. So let's do one more. If you've ever felt excluded, if you have ever felt excluded because of your age, because of your gender, because of your identity, I want you to drop SEEN, that's SEEN, in the comments. If you have ever felt excluded because of your age, because of your gender, because of your identity, I want you to drop SEEN in the comment section. Oh, that's a lot of people. Okay. So we all feel seen by this conversation. I love that. Good. Now, the last one is, if you are committed to helping leave no one behind, if you are committed to making sure that this society we're building together is inclusive for everyone, if you are committed to making sure that we're holding our government accountable to create a better future for us, I want you to drop a love emoji in the comment section. Just drop a love emoji in the comment section. If you are committed to making sure that nobody is left behind, if you're committed to making sure that we are going to all hold our government accountable, just drop a love emoji in the comment. Oh, beautiful. I love that many of us felt like almost everybody is still active. I love that. Good. And the last one, very last one is, if you are committed or you're excited to work together with everyone on this call to make sure that GESI or GESI is a success, drop GESI in the comments. If you are ready to make sure that everything we hear on this call today, we're taking it and we're making it work together, drop GESI. Hey, I like that. I like the energy. Well done, everyone. A round of applause for yourself. I can see we're still active, all right? Now we are at the finishing part of this conversation today, but you agree with me that most of what has been discussed here is very important. It's something that many of us have experienced, we've talked about, and it's good that WEP and their partners have brought it to reality And with the way Mr. John has explained it, and I'm very sure they'll be sending us the document to go over it more and more so we can see, just what role each and every one of us is going to be playing. So we just have a few more items to pick up on our list. The next item on this list is the unveiling of the GESI Performance Leaderboard logo. So GSI has a logo and we'll be unveiling it very shortly. Logo is not just you go to Canva and put the GESI together, do color. Logos usually have meaning, they have significance, they have meaning, they have significance. When you look at a logo, you should be able to tell the story of the organization, the business, the institution that owns that logo. So we're going to be doing a proper unveiling, and the honor will be having the communications officer of Web Nigeria do us the honor. So we'll be calling on board Cynthia Honor, the communications officer for Web Nigeria, to unveil the GSI leadership logo for us. You have the floor now, Cynthia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Cynthia. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today marks an exciting milestone in our collective journey towards building a more inclusive and equitable society. And it is with great pride that we officially unveil the logo for the GESI Performance Leaderboard. This is a visual representation of our shared commitment to gender equality and social inclusion. Let me walk you through the meaning and inspiration behind this design. At the heart of this logo, we see three figures standing for unity, diversity, and equal opportunity. The figure at the left represents a woman with her hand raised in solidarity. At the center is a person using a wheelchair, symbolizing inclusion of persons with disabilities, not just in representation, but in performance, leadership, and impact. The figure at the right represents a man. Together with the others, they form a team, lifting each other and celebrating collective progress. Their hands raised, meeting at the top, depicting a high five, is a universal symbol of encouragement, collaboration, and success. Beneath them, you'll notice a bar, ascending bars. This symbolizes progress, performance, and measurable impact. They remind us that inclusion isn't abstract. It's something that can and should be tracked, evaluated, and improved. Surrounding the core of this dynamic design is a swoosh of orange and blue colors chosen to reflect energy, equity, growth, and trust. This circular motion reinforces the idea of continuous commitment to equality and inclusion. At the base of the design, you see the acronym GESI, which clearly anchors our purpose, and it stands for gender equality and social inclusion. The GESI Performance Leaderboard is more than a name. It is a call to action. It challenges us to measure how well we're doing, not just in words, but in outcomes and in transforming lives. The logo stands as a beacon to remind us of the people we serve, the progress we aim for, and the inclusive future we're building, one metric and one milestone at a time. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey, and I hope this symbol inspires us all to lead, to include, and to perform with purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Oh my God. you just validated what I said about logos, not just being, you put the name of the organization together, this, that, put the colors. And I was seeing, I don't know if you're seeing the comments, a lot of people were dropping emojis because sometimes just when you break down the thought process behind the logo itself, it gives people a deeper meaning of the work that we are trying to do. So just explaining this logo alone has given us even a deeper sense of understanding of just how important this leaderboard performance is. And something that you said was putting those, what I call them, bar charts, in the sense I was representing the fact that whatever it is that we're going to be doing here is going to be, impact is supposed to be measured so that it can be improved. There are three things you measure. I don't think I can remember them exactly. I said it, but to show that it can be, impact can be measured, it can be, I don't know if you can just repeat that for us. Can be measured, it can be improved on or something. But this is perfect. Thank you so much for helping us understand the psychology behind the logo and the thought process. And moving forward, we hope that everything that we do will really reflect the identity that has gone into making this logo. Thank you so much. All right, now we've been hearing talks from everyone. It is time for us to talk, right? We are now in our Q&A session, and if you can, all right, let me see. Because of time, we may not want everybody to unmute because they will be in Nigeria. For somebody asks questions, they will use 5 hours and comment first, but we don't have that much time. So if you can just go to the comment section, any questions that you have, if it's a general question, you let us know. If it is aimed at one of the partners, let us know. So just drop your questions, and then probably I'll select from there maybe 3 people to unmute their mic and then just expand on the question that they have. Or let's just have people raise their hand. You can raise your hand, put your hand up. Okay, I can already see Olufemi Olawi, hands is up. Let me look for more people. So because of lack of time, we'll just take maybe 3 people. So Olufemi is the first hand I can see up. If you have any question at all, or there's anything you want more clarity on from everything we've heard today, please just put your hand up. I'll select you, and then you can ask your questions, and then we get feedback. Because trust me, it's a two-way process. You didn't just come here to listen. I'm very sure there's something you heard that maybe you want more expansion on, or whatever. Just raise up your hand, and then I'll select 3 persons who will ask their questions, and then we can move forward from there. All right. So on my screen here, Mr. John or somebody else may help me in case I'm missing somebody. But I can see 2 persons. I can see Rachel. I can see Gutu Akumba, and I can see Miracle Chinasa for now. So Miracle Chinasa, please, you can unmute yourself, and just ask your question very briefly so that we can get feedback from our speakers. Miracle Chinasa, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation and everything that has been said today. Thank you so much. Sorry, I just wanted to ask about the data collecting program. Hello?
Yes, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Yes,
Yes, we
I
can
want
hear
to know. Yeah, I want to know when the project is to start, and the next thing, what are we to expect, and when is the project expected to start, and if there's any plans to know how an application is successful and all that. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you so much, Miracle, for that question. Very important, because when we have programs like this, it's important to know the next step. What are we doing next? All right, so there are going to be applications. I'm very sure there'll be like a link or web or any of the partners who contact us, but there'll be applications that will come in, and then successful applicants will be contacted in a few days, because the assessment will start this month. But there'll be an information session and a training of the data collectors first, like a training of trainers. So assessment will start this month with information session and a training of the data collectors. But first of all, applications will come in and successful applicants will be contacted in a few days. So I'm very sure that Web or any of the partners will either be sending out a link in the comments here, or maybe via email, or the way they're able to contact us for this meeting. We'll be getting links for application and then the next step afterward. Thank you so much for that very important question, Miracle. What was the other person that I saw? Okay, Guto Akumba. All right, so I'm seeing here the applications have actually been received already. So successful applicants will be contacted in a few days, and then there'll be a training of data collectors, and you'll be getting more information on what next soon from Web and their partners. So Nguto Akumba, please let's have your question very briefly. Thank you. Nguto Akumba, can you hear us?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, mine it's a comment and at the same time a question. Over the years that I've been part of this crusade or movement for inclusiveness, I discovered that one of the major issues that we're always concentrating on the state. And I don't know if there is a specific reasons for that, but I feel there is an area that we're actually leaving behind. The people are the people that makes up policies of the state. State is in such a way that it bounces to where he feels the influence is coming from. So I think subsequently, let's see how we can begin to bring up programs that would bring these people. There's a certain level by the time even gender issues, by the time women get to a certain place, by the time people with disability get to a certain place, state will be moved, will be forced to recognize them. So I think subsequently for this particular board, we should also think of how we can go outside the state's issues and see how we can develop people to take over these positions we are always looking at. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that very important contribution. Yes. Okay. So that's a very important contribution. I don't know if any of the partners want to speak on that, or just want to wait to add that, because there's going to be a session just after the Q&A for ways forward, implementing some of these contributions that everyone on the call has given, answering some questions and just the way forward. So thank you so much. We'll hold that thought, and in our next session, we'll be giving more light to that. And like I said, we're going to be taking only 3 persons. So I'm selecting the 3 persons that I saw their hand up initially. So the third person I saw was Rachel Okoronkwo. Please, you can unmute yourself and, just give us your question very briefly. Thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you, Sharon. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so mine is a follow-up question from one of the persons who previously asked the question, and it speaks to the stakeholders that would be either interviewed or surveyed during the course of the data collection process. So are we looking at government stakeholders? Are we going to be inclusive in the kind of stakeholders that would speak to? And then another is, would these be evidence-based? So for instance, if you're asking a respondent, does your state have a GESI kind of policy, and then they say yes, do you go on to ask them, can we see your state's policy and all of that? So yeah, just a question around evidence and the respondents or the stakeholders for the data collection process. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. That's a very important question. Like this, you must have heard during the course of this launch, we've mentioned evidence-based like multiple times, because we also don't want anything to be based on assumption, or because maybe you are not aware of the particular policy, you just say, oh, my state does not have it. Meanwhile, it has it, but you are not aware. So yes, there's going to be evidence-based, but I'm going to allow our partners from Web to give more light to this particular question, and then any of the other questions that we asked, because there are other ones in the comment section that I cannot get to, we need the extended to Ghana for the dashboard, all of those things. And we actually have somebody very key that can give us the answer to many of these questions, and he has spoken before. That's that's our co-executive director for Web Nigeria, Mr. John Baki, is here to answer some of the questions and just give more light on the way forward. So, Mr. John Baki, please, you can take the stage and just let us know the next steps and the way forward so we can have an action plan as we leave this meeting in the next few minutes. So, Mr. John Baki, please, you can take over the meeting and let us know the next steps and the action plan. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Sharon. But I think there's one more hand up. I don't know if you should take that before I respond to some of the questions raised.
Okay, Mr. John, on my end, I can even see more than one hand up. So I don't know who in particular I'll call. Yeah, because I initially said the first three persons. So maybe the other persons like Victor, Amarachi, Nelson can type their questions, or if there can be like maybe a link where people can drop questions that were not answered during the session, that would be good because we don't have time to take, and I can see more than one hand, but more than three hands are still used. So I think you should just start giving the next step, and then maybe in your session you answer some of the pending questions that these people have.
Okay, thank you for that. So if in this way forward I've been able to answer your question, you can bring down your hand, but if not, you can drop your question in the chat if I am not able to answer it. So how are we going to go about this moving from here? For those of you who are aware, we launched an application for data collectors, a call for data collectors, those who will help us to collect the information that we need to make meaning out of, to understand the situations of the state as regards GESI. So many applications came in. We were bombarded with so many applications. Over 25,000 persons sent in their applications so far. So we're going to shortlist successful applicants. The applications are being reviewed. So we're going to shortlist successful applicants and communicate them. So once they are communicated, and this will be in few days. So once they are communicated, they will be communicated with some timelines when we are going to have a meeting with them to explain the methodology they are going to use in collecting data. Like one of the questions that was asked about whether the data collection will be evidence-based. Yes, all those questions will be addressed there. But yes, it will be evidence-based. It is not enough to say, yes, I have this law, and you cannot cite the law. You cannot see it online. You cannot see it in the state's online portal or anywhere, but you just accept that there is a law. No, it has to be evidence-based. And several other strategies we are going to use for the data collection will be discussed during the information session and training with successful data collectors. So if you had sent in your application, you are going to receive an email if you are successful and selected. Note that we may not be able to select everyone that applied because we have over 25,000 applications, which is so much. So we're going to select people who are successful, the number that we feel can of the assessment within the state. And that's the number we're going to invite for that virtual training. Someone asked in the chat, where will the training take place? So it will be a virtual information session. I will discuss, give guidance on how the data collection is going to be done. Some persons are asking, when is it going to happen in data? When is it going to happen in this state? All that will be discussed during the information session with successful candidates. When they will start, when we will expect that they send us the information they have gotten, we will discuss all that. the support, the budget support for carrying out the exercise, all that will be discussed with successful applicants. And there was another question as to whether we're going to extend to Ghana. Maybe for now, I can't say. It depends on resources. I know that many African countries have a need for this kind of assessment. But at the moment, we can only focus on Nigeria. But if we leverage some resources later to enable us to do in Ghana, why not? But for now, the focus is on Nigeria. So I don't know if this way forward has answered some of the questions or the questions in the chat, and the questions that the people raising hands are intending to ask. But if this does not answer all your questions, you can drop them in the chat so that we can quickly answer them. So over to you, Sharon.
Thank you so much for that. So there's so many questions in the comments that you already answered, like people asking if they can still apply. From what you said, you had over, I think, 25,000 applications. That's why you guys closed it. So anybody that's asking that, no, applications for the data collections is already closed, and successful applicants will be contacted within the next few days. Where will the training take place? Is it in each state or central location? So people that be selected, you'll be getting information on that, on where and when the training will be selected. So the person that asked if it will be extended to Ghana, like Mr. John said, that depends on resources, but we know many other African countries need it. But for, like, any solution that you bring up, you have to do your pilot in one place before you now, scale it up. So let's see how it goes in Nigeria, and then possibly in the future we can scale it up to other countries. Mayowa says, for the dashboard, what's the duration for the data collection, and how would you ensure participation of citizens across Nigeria? Do enumerators have to have a certain level of training? So like Mr. John also mentioned, the data collectors that will be taking charge of this will actually be properly trained. So there's going to be a guideline for them to be trained on during the training of the data collectors, so that to ensure that there's a participation of all citizens and they have the level of training they need to be enumerators. All right, how do you guys intend to extend the activities to Sierra Leone? So the same question is that when we are done with Nigeria, hopefully we can move it to other countries. But she said she's interested in partnership with Web. You can still reach out to Web. In case Nigeria is done, maybe Sierra Leone will be the next country. Where will the training? We've answered that question. Someone said, I would like to know if you have indicators or barometers to compare the result of the assessment. Also, is it going to be a one-off assessment, or is it going to be updated yearly? So from the explanation that Mr. John gave, I'm thinking it's going to be updated. It's going to be updated because you cannot just use the result of a particular state from 2024 to judge them for 2025. No, I'm very sure that there's going to be updated assessments, and there are going to be indicators as well that will help us to compare the result of the assessment. So any other question that has not been answered, you can reach out to Web. Mr. John, I don't know if it's possible to drop maybe an email, or okay, yes, it is possible to drop an email so that people can, so the training will be virtually for all the data collectors. But if you have any question that has not been answered by myself or Mr. John, please, you can send an email to Web. So Mr. John, please, you can drop Web's email, or maybe just any way that people can contact Web. All right, so, but for now, most of the questions you are asking are the questions that are that the data collectors will be trained on. So once they're done with that, the information will cascade down to everybody that will be participating. Thank you so much, Web. Thank you so much, Actionaid. Thank you, ChristainAid. Thank you to Happy. Thank you to the Dutch government. Thank you to European Union. Thank you to every single partner that has seen the vision and the importance of this initiative and has come together to make sure that it did not just remain an idea or a thought. And through this tool, we'll be able to move from complaining and accusing and pointing fingers, blaming and shaming, to actually having concrete evidence to either commend a government or let them know the way forward. Our closing remarks will be taken by the Executive Director of WEP Nigeria. That will be the last item for today. She'll be taking the closing remarks and the vote of thanks. Okay, I can see Sensational Channel. Thank you guys so much for engaging with us. I know that taking out time on Thursday, like you heard many of the partners saying they were in a board meeting, they were in a this, in that, but they took out time. This is very important. Trust me, when this leaderboard um, platform launches, you will realize how very important it is to the work that you do. Especially if you work with women or you work with youth or you work with persons with disability or any marginalized group, you will have tangible data and information you'll be able to hold and then hold the government accountable or demand for anything. Demand either for your rights, demand for support, demand for systems, demand for tools. This will not now be an emotional. The work we're doing will no longer be emotional. You not just say, oh, women are suffering. How can you quantify that? How many women in that state are suffering? What is the data behind that? So trust me, this will be very useful for every single one of us. So even if you're not selected as a data collector, please stay in the loop. Follow WEP on all their platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, to stay updated with how this is going. So I'm going to be leaving the floor now for Anne-Marie Abagu, who is the Executive Director for Women Environmental Program Nigeria, who will be giving us the closing remarks and the vote of thanks. Thank you so much, everyone. Over to you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you so much, Sensational Sharon. This was really an engaging short session. It's amazing how people are so passionate about GESI, and I know that they will be looking out for the results, which we're also going to share with everyone on our different platforms. So I just want to use this opportunity to thank you all so much for joining this launch. Thank you for putting out time to listen in and share your questions, your comments. Thank you to our partners. It's always a huge and amazing opportunity to work with you all. And we don't take that for granted. And even all the participants today online, you are our partners. So I also thank you for partnering with us on this. And I know that there'll be more opportunities to work together in other avenues. WEP has been following up on data, and there's one thing that has come up, especially with the review of activities on the gender action plan. And one thing they said was all the organizations and parties were saying that they need evidential data, and that is what we all need to work on. When we say something, we need to provide evidence, and that is what government and donors are looking at to exact change, and that is what we're here to do. And I encourage every other organization, individual, and person on this platform to do so. So thank you so much, Sensational Sharon. Thank you for holding the fort. Thank you for engaging all the participants. It's always a amazing opportunity working with you. I wish you all a good rest of your day and enjoy your weekend. Over to you.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you, WEP, for always bringing up very insightful initiatives. Thank you to everyone that participated, our speakers, our partners. Now, just very quickly, if you guys can, please, you can turn on your cameras just for a few seconds so that we can take a group photograph. You know, this is history in the making. When we eventually do our final launch and everything, you know, your name is going to be in the history book. Oh, and this one is not emotional. This one will be evidence based. There'll be an evidence that you were here when this was launched, but we start scaling to other countries like Sierra Leone, like Ghana, Cameroon, everywhere. It will be said that you were on this call and you participated. So please turn on your camera just for a few seconds so we can take a picture and smile. Some of you are not smiling. Why are we not smiling? Okay, Mr. John, who is taking the picture?
Because the link was closed before we tried to apply it.
Mr. John, they're angry with you.
Yesterday, but
Thank
it wasn't
you.
able.
Kelechi, we cannot see you. Please, if you can, just turn on your camera for just a few seconds so we can take a group photograph for history, for evidence.
Hello, Ken or Cynthia. Let us know when you are done taking the pictures.
These are the history makers. So these are people that are part of history.
It has been taken.
Smile. Not that when I post the picture and I tag you, like, I should pull it down because you're not looking fine in the picture. Smile, oh. Okay, you are done taking all the pictures?
Hello, Ken, Cynthia, are you there? Are you taking the pictures?
Yes, sir.
Done. Thank you.
Let's know if
everybody. Yes, she's done. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Have a productive week. And look forward to more information from. So we've agreed, is it GESI or GESI? Let's chorus it together before we go. Everybody on mute. Is it GESI or GESI?
GESI.
Okay, whatever you call it, but revision is one. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Overlook your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.